everything we're talking about here is not stuff you're going to hear on Joe Rogan's show. You're just not.
Yeah.
He was going over the Love the Torture video post, and he's like, I don't understand. Why would they redact that guy? Like, bro, come on, wakey. Let's catch up here. Like,
and that was the Sultan. And Massey forced them to release that name. Right. Otherwise, that was going to remain redacted.
That's exactly right. So anyway, he's like, months behind and a day late and $1 short, and his whole audience is revolting now against him, and they're going, this is so dishonest. Like, and he gave himself credit for like rejecting the meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, which I did too. But what Rogan doesn't tell you is, motherfucker, you have the whole motherfucking Epstein class come on your podcast and whitewash their records. He had Jeffrey Epstein's personal chef come on the show. Did you know that?
No.
He did a whole interview with Jeffrey Epstein's personal chef and never mentioned fucking Jeffrey Epstein.
What?
Never mind the talk with Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel lied to his face and lied to Rogan's audience when he said, like, oh, I was just getting tax advice from him. And then you see the emails and he's like, had a great time with you last night, fella, or whatever the hell it said.
Yeah.
You got Elon Musk, who was embarrassingly begging to go to the island. I mean,
on Christmas morning.
On Christmas morning, you disgusting sick fuck. What a disgusting freak.
I do. You have made this case, and I really believe it, that a big part of Rogan's problem is his bromance with Elon. Like 100%. He really has drank the Kool-Aid about he's a genius and he's world historic and all this stuff, and so he just can't. Now he has to rationalize. And it is crazy to see. I mean, I think about Alex Jones too. Like, these are people. Rogan used to talk about the Epstein stuff all the time. Like, this should have been your moment where it's like, yes, we were right about all these things we've been saying. And instead it's like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
Because Joe Rogan talks on the phone with Donald Trump. Joe Rogan texts with Donald Trump. I'm sure he texts regularly with J.D. Vance, like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, all these people. He had Marc Andreessen on his show, Mark Zuckerberg on his show.
Yeah.
All these people are, they're friends of Joe's now. He runs in those, I was going to say waters, but that's mixing metaphors there. Swims in those waters.
Runs in those circles.
Runs in those circles.
He does all of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, Tim Dillon is being more honest. I still think overall his politics are not great because he does the both sides bullshit and he's an enlightened centrist kind of, but at least he's telling the truth more. It's got to be weird for Tim Dillon to be around Joe Rogan now. Like, next time Tim Dillon comes on the podcast, Rogan's going to issue a motherfucking gag order to make sure he doesn't tell the truth a little too hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, I give you all of that to let you know Rogan is sort of like, his own audience is sort of like, fuck you, you're playing hide the ball, you helped whitewash these people. And Rogan is still coping and seething in his bubble. Not over any of that stuff. He's still pissed that Maron called him out and got a lot of juice off of that. Like that, it went mega viral and people started loving Marc Maron because they were like, oh, finally, somebody's telling the truth about the Rogan sphere.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this video from American Redact and we'll come back and react to it.
Caucasian and on Caucasian beef like
but
that.
This is an
and
example.
It was entertaining.
This is an example. Marc Maron was doing really well at one point in time in his career, and now he's not. Right. So Marc Maron had the #1 podcast, and after a while, his podcast wasn't even in the top 200. It dropped off. Bill Burr, his career's took off.
Right.
He's doing arenas. He's killing it. Marc's not. And Marc finds reasons to criticize other people that are doing much better than him. And he focuses on that because he thinks he should be getting more than he deserves.
But do you think that's going back to being a provocateur? He knows if he talked this
No. I think it's going back to being bitter and jealous and thinking about other people instead of thinking about himself and why people don't want to go see him anymore. He was upset when we left the Comedy Store because we took the crowds away. And it's like, hey, you were on the fucking marquee too, man.
Right.
They're not coming to see you. And the reason why they're not coming to see you is because you're not doing well. And your podcast was in the top. It was #1. And when it was at #1, by the way, this is what I always say about Marc Maron, he was great. Marc Maron was fun to hang out with when he was killing it.
Right.
Because he was happy. Because he was getting validation. Because he had the #1 podcast. We were friends. Like, I did his podcast. He did mine. We had a good time. I'd hug him when I see him. We had gone back and forth many times with having beef with each other.
Do you think people...
His problem... Let me finish. His problem was when everybody else started doing really good and he started dropping off.
Right.
That's what happened.
So it's actually been a long time since Joe Rogan and Marc Maron did each other's podcasts. Like, it's been nearly 15 years since they spoke with each other and addressed their beefs. So since then, Joe's truly turned sour. And to be frank, nowadays, Joe Rogan's been completely bought out. Like, he's an absolute lizard now that's mostly lazy with who he has on his podcast every week. He's happily paid by the largest Republican figures in politics and would rather talk shit about a retired comedian than someone that is in the Epstein files and is actively denying it, like allegedly Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Barry Weiss, Peter Attia, RFK Jr., RFK Jr.'s wife, and so on. Like, there's a huge list of people Joe should be shitting on right now, but instead, he chooses Marc Maron seemingly out of nowhere.
Well, this is what I don't understand. Why can't people understand that you have a moment? Like I was talking...
Because he's a fucking narcissist, and he wants the moment to always be around him. He wants it to always be about him. And when other people are doing better than him, he wants to talk shit about them. And that's where Bill had a problem with it.
You think being a narcissist in this field is a bad thing? For some reason, I think that kind of fuels you to be the person that you are, to be determined to do it and not give a fuck about what nobody think.
Well, having self-respect and having an ego where you care about what you put out, yes, that's a good thing. But making it all about you and not being able to appreciate other people's work is crazy, because other people doing well can be fuel for you to be inspired and do better yourself. And it's a positive thing. Right. And if these people are your friends and you love them and you care about them, you should be happy that they're killing it. And if you're not killing it anymore, you should try to figure out why. Because it's not like the door's not open. It's not like you're not getting on stage. It's not like you're not putting out specials. You should probably figure out why your podcast dropped from #1 to not even in the top 200 anymore without anything happening. You didn't get arrested. There was no scandal. There was nothing crazy. You should try to figure that out. And he doesn't do that because he's instead bitter and jealous. He's always been like that.
Yeah, so my favorite point in there, this is what American Redact said. There's a huge list of people Rogan should be shitting on, but he's choosing Maron right now. To me, that says everything. You should be furious at Peter Thiel for lying to you about how close he was with Jeffrey Epstein. You should be furious at Elon Musk for lying to you in the same way. And also, he's been riding hard for Elon this entire time. And Elon, like, his whole thing has fallen apart. Like, Tesla is absolutely imploding right now. BYD, I think that's the name of the company, right? The Chinese car manufacturer. They just, like, overtook Tesla. Elon is, like, sad boy posting on a regular basis, like, whoever said money doesn't buy happiness is right. Like, they got, and by the way, he's a total con man and a fraud. And like anybody who's seriously looked at his record knows that. I mean, he said, "Oh, we don't need the high-speed trains because I'm going to do the Hyperloop," and then he didn't do the fucking Hyperloop. And then like,
well, just recently he was like, you know, that whole Mars thing, like that's not.
My bad.
That's not gonna work out.
He's a liar. He's a con man and a liar and a fraud. I mean, where's the fucking Tesla Roadster they promised in like 2017? Even that fucking hasn't. Oh, we're going to get you to Mars in 10 years. Here we are, like 15 years later, hasn't. And Rogan still meat rides it. You should be mad at that guy. You should be mad at Donald Trump for making you look like a fucking idiot. You brought him on the podcast, let him lie to your audience. You gave him a hot stone massage. Now he's ruining the country and ushering in fascism, right? And what are you doing? You're mad at fucking Marc Maron for reasonable criticism of you?
I mean, it's also like this allegation that gets thrown out that like, oh, that person's just jealous. It's such
high school coded. And
it's also so lazy.
Yep.
Because what does that allow you to do? Then you don't have to deal with the substance of what they're saying.
So true.
You can just dismiss it all because, oh, well, they're just jealous. So, you know, I don't really have to think about what they're saying. Well, clearly he is thinking about what Marc Maron is saying because he's still bringing it up at this point. And I don't know, you've followed Marc Maron closer than I have. You can tell me. But it doesn't seem like his criticism of Joe Rogan is at all out of step with where he has always been ideologically and the way that he has positioned himself. Like, this is a natural outgrowth of what his worldview and politics are. So if it was just coming out of jealousy, you would think it would be somehow a break with other things that he has said in the past. And it doesn't seem to me like it's at all inconsistent.
So Marc Maron was an old school Air America radio host. For those of you who are too young to know this, Air America was the attempt for the left wing to catch up to the right wing, how the right wing dominated talk radio when they had like Rush Limbaugh with his show, which was huge in the 1990s, and you had Mark Levin and Sean Hannity and Michael Savage and all these guys. They were huge back then in the 1990s. The left wing answer to that was Air America Radio. We're going to do left wing talk radio. And that's originally what I wanted to do for a living when Air America was, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that guy on the radio.
Yeah.
But he was an Air America radio host. He's always been a left wing guy. And Joe, it should come as no surprise to you that as soon as you make your fucking hard right turn and you start sucking off Trump and JD Vance and playing patty cakes with them while bitching about purple-haired wokesters every day on your show, of course Marc Maron's going to be like, hey man, sort of fuck you. You just casually ushered in fascism and imperialism. I'm against that. And to your point, you made a great point there about he's dodging the substance of the criticisms. Mm-hmm. He's going right to, you must be bitter, you must be jealous, like that's the problem, it's all about you, it's all about your feelings. None of it was personal. And by the way, Marc Maron is very open about the fact that his whole life, he has been kind of a jealous person. His whole life, he has sort of been in his feelings. His whole life, he wasn't the easiest person to be around because of those things. He wears that on his sleeve. What he's saying now is this has nothing to do with it. It's all about what you did, like, and it also destroyed comedy. And that's another one of Marc Maron's points, is that now you guys have turned comedy into who can be the most offensive for the sake of being offensive.
Yeah.
You've replaced laughter with the audience going like this. Like, did he say that? And you guys have conflated it. I mean, that's Kill Tony's whole fucking thing. Tony Hinchcliffe's whole thing is, I'm going to make you recoil and be like, oh my God, that's shocking.
Well, and here's the thing too. Even, let's say it does come out of jealousy and bitterness. Let's say that is what's driving, his specific criticisms of Joe Rogan. Does that mean it's wrong? You can have a criticism that's motivated by, a petty emotion that still is correct. And I mean, obviously that's the real fear for Joe, because otherwise he wouldn't still be hung up on this, and he would have a substantive response rather than just trying to say, oh, well, he's just jealous. I don't really have to listen.
And that's why he was like, let me finish.
Yeah.
She was trying to get his whole thing out, and Donnell Rawlings was interjecting, but Joe's been stewing on this for a while. She was, let me finish this. And the funny thing is, Marc Maron's retired.
He's not even doing his podcast anymore.
He's not doing his podcast anymore. By the way, the first time Joe responded to Maron was the day after he finished his podcast.
Wow.
The day fucking after.
Wow.
And so Marc Maron, he did somebody else's podcast a month later or something and kind of responded to Joe. And Joe is clearly sitting on this, even though Maron's retired. I don't even know how much stand-up he's doing these days. I think he is still doing some stand-up. But 62-year-old retired fucking podcaster, and Joe is sitting there furious over it. And the reason is he knows what he's saying is bullshit when he says, oh, you should be happy when other comedians are doing well. Trying to turn it into something like, well, it depends what values they're pumping out into the world.
Right.
And that's Maron's point, is you guys snuggled up to fascists. You did. You just did. You can hold that L and fucking admit it, and you turn out that bitch and be honest and have a true reckoning, and then we'd be in a different place, but you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're honestly having less integrity than fucking Andrew Schultz and Tim Dillon. I mean, that's embarrassing. When Andrew Schultz out-integrities you, that's kind of embarrassing, is it not?
Yeah, and it's not even close at this point.
Correct.
It's not even close. So, yeah, I mean, the number of Epstein Files linked figures that he's had on his show, that he's given a platform to, that he continues to hold up and venerate, he at the very least is a useful idiot for the Epstein class.
That's his yak role.
And the fascist regime that is currently in place in the United States government. And clearly he, for whatever reasons, is not interested in backing out of that position. He's going to stay right where he is.
And he thinks his best way to play defense now is to beat up on the comedian who made that criticism and hide behind the shield of, well, this guy's just jealous and bitter. And it's sort of like a shield to deflect all of the criticism. I'm sure Joe would say about me that I'm bitter and jealous because I've been criticizing him now for 2 years? Mm-hmm. I'm sure he'd say that. Mm-hmm. Homie, I can assure you it's got nothing to do with jealousy. I don't want to be in your shoes, right? It's literally all substantive. It's all about the policy. It's all about what has been done to this country and what you enthusiastically helped usher in. And you would think there'd be a little bit of self-reflection, especially given the fact that there's fucking concentration camps now. There's fucking concentration camp. They just deported a 2-month-old with bronchitis who was deathly ill. They just deported that kid the other day on top of a 4-year-old American with cancer, on top of shooting a priest in the face with a pepper ball, on top of attacking an 84-year-old senior citizen couple that was at one of these anti-ICE protests, on top of Alex Preddy, on top of Renee Nicole Good. Maybe on top of Trump bombing Iran and Somalia and Nigeria and fucking, threatening Canada and threatening Greenland and threatening Mexico and threatening Panama.
Well, and where's all your free speech, bro, energy?
Gone.
When you've got the government pressuring social media companies to reveal the names and phone numbers and identities of anyone who's anti-ICE. You have them trying to imprison people for writing friggin' college, op-eds. It's just abuse after what they're doing with the FCC and, not letting them have James Tallarico on and censoring Jimmy Kimmel and all of this. And it's everything that you ever, any like even vaguely left-wing principle you ever claim to hold is just gone.
Bernie was on Joe's show and he was criticizing Trump for suing the media. And Rogan was like defending Trump.
I remember that.
Remember that?
I do remember
that. He was like,
that.
but what if they wrote things that are like not true, bro? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? You just spent 5 years on your show straight yelping about free speech, and now the president of the United States suing people for articles he doesn't like or polls he doesn't like is totally fine with you?
I mean, they're doing the panopticon facial recognition. Like, this is the thing. Again, I think about him and Alex Jones. Like, you guys seem to care about this stuff up until now. And then now that you're in with these people and you feel like this is either your friend group or in Alex Jones' case, like you feel like you need this protection because you're on such financial thin ice, you've decided, I'm just going to pretend like there's nothing to see here.
Just so gross. So gross. Hey guys, had an awesome Crystal, Kyle, and Friends episode this week with just me and Crystal. We have some amazing updates, some spicy, juicy, honestly disturbing updates when it comes to the Epstein files. You don't want to miss this particular segment, which you'll sign up on Substack below, and you'll be able to get the entire thing.